Braun, Kratz, Pierzynski, plenty of guests, and we're coming off Fair Territory with Alana Rizzo and Ken Rosenthal. And you can watch that show back in case you missed it, or listen to it. Check out the Fair Territory podcast page. We also post that on the Foul Territory podcast page. Ken's spicy this week.
Oh man, he's taking shots. Kratz, what's up with him taking all these shots at people?
I love it. I love this Ken. You give a man 2 shows a week plus his Fox show. This is what we need. More Junior.
More Rizzo too. Alana was bringing it today. They had zingers.
They had zingers. They had dad jokes. They had everything. Fair Territory is really up AJ's alley. Really up AJ's alley.
Well,
is it though?
There's appointment television this weekend, so he's getting himself prepared.
Is there? What is it?
It's the Ken Rosenthal, AJ Pierzynski. I don't want to leave out the play-by-play. Is it Amin? Is he back?
No, it's Connor Onion. Don't know him.
So it's the Pierzynski Rosenthal Onion show.
On
Saturday.
So our producer texted us all last night, and goes, "Hey, is there anything you guys need?" And I said, "My only request is Ken gets 0 airtime this week."
Did he reply?
Ken?
Yeah.
Let me see what he wrote something.
He
goes,
shot?
"I hope he knows who Ronel Blanco is."
He said, "I hope you know."
Yeah, I hope. And I was like, "Who is that?" He just replied with who?
Is that who you're getting? Are you getting Blanco?
Ronel Blanco
Rangers?
against Andrew Haney.
So that's 2 in a row for him against Texas
because
he pitched against them last Sunday.
Yeah, pitched well.
To me, this is the true test.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a 30-year-old breakout candidate. Right. And he was no-hit good in his first start. He was really good in his second start. Command wasn't the same, though.
He went 14 innings without giving up a hit.
I know. But his command wasn't as good in that second start.
He walked some more guys.
Yeah. Now, third start is against the same team.
His command wasn't as good as his no-hitter. He wasn't quite as good as his no-hitter.
Yeah.
Close, though. Close.
How's he going to do? It'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, it will. Let's charge the damn mound. We have news.
Charging the mound.
We are also a news organization, just at times. There's a court case. It's a federal investigation, and it continues. It actually is going pretty quick. So there were a bunch of good articles put out yesterday, led by the New York Times. Federal authorities have concluded that Shohei Ohtani was a victim of fraud, not involved in a gambling scheme with former translator Ippei. And it sounds like Ippei is in negotiations to plead guilty in connection to alleged theft.
What's he getting, though? That's what I want to know.
Like, what's the punishment?
No. What's he getting for pleading guilty? Because most of the time, you don't just be like, "Oh, I pleaded guilty. I pled guilty."
You get a deal.
You mean like reduced sentence?
Yeah, that's
or
what I'm
something?
saying. Yeah, is he getting a reduced sentence? Is he giving people up? Because a lot of times, when you plead guilty, you're like, "Oh, I'm going to give up somebody." I mean, I understand he was a victim of fraud, but did you see where like Ippei was like, "Oh, I took off his notifications," and it was more than $4.5 million? Like, how much money does Shohei have? He's just missing like $10 million, and it's like, won't even notice it in my bank account.
But if he's
Didn't
making
even know
35, but he's making 35 this year, Kratz in endorsement deals. So
Still,
that's a lot of money.
I agree with both of you, but it especially if it's from endorsement. Let's say he has 4 or 5 different endorsement deals. Those checks aren't just like coming in as one quick check. So there's a check here, there's a check there. Shohei's worried about, to me, I'm going to say Shohei's worried about baseball, and whether you think that's smart or not, that's what he does. And I think he trusted him. It's sad.
this is where most, we've talked about this before, but most athletes get in trouble, or most, people that get taken advantage of, is they trust the wrong people, or they trust one person too much, right? Like, you can't give somebody, I don't care. I mean, unless it's like even your spouse, right? Like all the acts. Now your spouse is different because it's your spouse and you guys are legally binded together, but like a friend,
Parents,
a brother, parent, like, hey, here's access to my bank accounts, brother, do what you want with it. I'm never going to check it. Like, no, because people get into stuff.
They call and go, "Oh, I placed all of these investments down for you. They're going to be great. Oh, is it a stock? Can I see it? No, it's in all of these businesses." And then they call back a few years later. "Yeah, they all didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just robbed you."
Yeah.
That's real though. That happens all the time.
That's what I'm saying. But like the fact that you trust somebody that much is scary to me.
But they do it all the time.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's
Music
scary
too. You know, have you seen like the Freddie Mercury movie Queen?
I know.
Was Elton John?
But now in today's world, with
Amy
the way everything is
Winehouse's
on
dad.
this little device right here,
Yeah.
like literally it's on this device right here, you should be checking your junk. Kratz definitely needs to check his junk.
Clip that. Check your junk. But they don't. Like it's just some don't. It's not for them, right? Some famous.
Once a week, you should just go, all right, let's see. Just let me see. You don't have to check it every day. Right, Kratz? Am I wrong on this? Like
$450,000 taken out of your account 10 times. I feel like you have to see that. I feel like you have to be able to notice that. That's a lot of zeros getting taken.
Ippei said though that he turned off notifications. So if he was never looking at it, he would have never seen it. And if he didn't have anybody else handling his money, he doesn't have anybody else watching his money. Just him? He's just like, oh, I'm just going to stuff it under my bed.
Someone else might be helping him, but they might not be judging if he's taking out 6 figs on the reg. Might be like, hey, this dude spends, but
what's he getting for it? But then somebody at some point, your financial guy is going to be like, hey, I know you're making a lot, but why are you spending $500,000 multiple times? And you didn't buy a car, you didn't buy a house, you ain't buy nothing. Like, what'd you buy? A watch? I mean, that's a hell of a watch you're buying. $5 million.
Yeah. No,
see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, there's got to be somebody and again, I don't know who that person would be because, you know, I check my junk when I need to, but there's got to be somebody out there, right, saying something.
For most cases, maybe yes, because it's a business manager
no,
or
I
financial
understand. Okay.
advisor.
Yes, I understand that. But if they're not the one stealing, like normally when you hear about this, it's a relative or it's their financial guy that stole the money most of the time. Now, this is a completely different animal of what was being taken and by who, because we've never heard of somebody like this. Now, we've heard of brothers, parents, all that. You know, there's all these celebrities in Hollywood are like, oh, my dad stole all my money. I don't have any money, right? But you never hear of somebody like just a friend being like, hey, you're my friend. I'm going to, you know, or a financial guy because they have access to it, right? You know, so that's where it's strange to me that he would give access. I mean, I think he completely trusted Ippei and he got burned. It sucks.
So Ken and Alana address this on Fair Territory as well. And it sounds like we're going to have some type of press conference soon, probably during this show, that will maybe officially announce the charges and that he accepted a plea deal. Whatever it is, as soon as we get it, you'll probably have it during this show, so we'll let you know. But in the meantime, let's hear from Fair Territory.
Well, Alana, a press conference has been called for 1:30 Eastern by federal prosecutors at which they are going to announce significant developments in a criminal investigation that also carries great significance. They have not said exactly who this is revolving around, but it is understood that this is going to be a news conference regarding Ippei Mizuhara, the interpreter for Shohei Ohtani. And as the New York Times reported last night, Mizuhara has been in negotiations with federal officials regarding a guilty plea in this case, regarding what is expected to be him admitting to stealing money from Shohei Ohtani. Now, this, of course, is a major development in a lot of ways, but it's really significant in the sense that if indeed Mizuhara admits to stealing the money from Ohtani, and the New York Times report said it could be significantly and more than $4.5 million, if that's the case, it would lend credence to Ohtani's account that he knew nothing about what was going on with his accounts. And also, according to the New York Times report last night, in essence, the federal government believes that it has evidence that Mizuhara, changed the settings on Ohtani's accounts, changed the settings on his accounts so that Ohtani could not receive confirmations or information about what was going on with those accounts. That would be stunning, but this would not be the first athlete to be duped out of money or to lose a lot of money. But we have, again, significant developments coming in this case later today.
Okay, first of all, the comments in the chat are classic right now.
People saying
everyone's checking their junk.
Oh, that part. But some people are like, "Oh, there should be apologies to Ohtani."
No, listen.
Wait, not from us. Did we ever say?
Here's the thing. I'm happy that Ohtani
Yeah.
had nothing to do with this. This is a great news, actually. There's no reason to apologize. I mean, if we're going to apologize for anything, we need to apologize to Shohei for Ippei stealing all his money. Like, we're sorry you got all your money stolen, but you're also, need to check your junk, bro.
Some people, maybe they're not talking about us, but, there's people like Dodger haters or Ohtani haters who are like, oh, maybe, they're like, Ohtani was doing this and Ippei's covering it all up, blah, blah, blah. The conspiracy theorist shit. So I think that's what's getting thrown out there, and that's what some people are like, you should apologize to Shohei for accusing him of wrongdoing.
We didn't accuse him of anything.
I think they're saying that's in general to...
The people who accused him are just trolls who are... they're not coming out and saying, yeah, you know what? I was wrong. I was definitely wrong. There were some announcers that were getting on banging on Shohei that I think I agree. I think owe him some apologies if this comes out the way that it looks like it's coming out.
There are some broadcasters
Yep.
that have been vocal about the story and about the fact that the story's not getting enough attention. I've seen that from a few notable broadcasters, and I'm like, I don't think you're understanding the story. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like this is one of those cases where people don't understand how it works. Remember when Ohtani signed and it was the deferred money? I still have to clarify this pretty often, where people are like, he signed for $700 million. I'm like, deferred. It's not present day 700 mil, because people are like, is Soto going to get more than 700? I'm like, deferred or present day? Because it's two totally different things. Like one podcast appearance I did, I was going over freaking finance for 20 minutes. So in the same realm here, some broadcasters that are calling out Ohtani and saying this story needs to be bigger, this is related to him betting. No, it's not. He had a bad friend who stole money from him.
Yeah, and people have said also that he should be suspended for this. Well, why? For what? If he didn't know, if I get stuff stolen if I get my junk stolen, I shouldn't go on suspension either.
And you shouldn't be in trouble with the feds. And it sounds like he's not going to be. You don't get in trouble for your own money being stolen if someone else was doing it.
As long as you didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
The uproar that I heard was, well, if he was in New York, this would definitely be a bigger story. Like, as much as we bang the drum that maybe Major League Baseball does not check on things soon enough, believe me, their investigations link people to things that they're connected to. We haven't seen too many like, hey, we're putting you on administrative leave and them been wrong. I'm not saying in every case, but I'm saying they're not going to go to a rash judgment no matter if he's playing in LA, he's playing in New York or Chicago. Like, there are people that owe an apology to Shohei. They won't stand up. They'll be like, yeah, well, next.
Good call.
Agreed. I love whoever this guy is. You all heavily implied you thought Shohei did it. Way to backtrack and not take responsibility, cowards. First of all, go back and watch. We never said
go back and watch the show.
We all said we're only going off what they're saying, and we're hoping that he had nothing to do with it. Other than that, we didn't say he did anything.
There was
other than be. I mean, I hate to even say this, being colossally dumb for letting somebody have this much access to his stuff. Other than that, I mean, that's it. I mean, he did that, obviously, if this is what the feds have found.
Yeah, that person should watch back all the FT clips. You won't, but you should. And tell us one time that any of this group that you're looking at right now said, oh, Ohtani was betting on baseball. Not once. Good luck. And
I mean, we were all like, please don't let him have anything to do with this.
We want him to fucking play.
Yeah, I want him to play. And by the way, for the people that say he's not in New York, that's right, he's not in New York. He's only in LA. I don't know. It's much smaller than New York, much smaller market.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Also, administrative leave for a situation like this where your money got stolen versus Julio Urias having a second domestic violence charge. Big fucking difference. Wander Franco's charges, read all about that, and we've covered it on here. Big fucking difference. You don't just go on admit leave for anything. What if
No.
what if your car gets broken into? Should you go on admin leave in case it was insurance fraud? Like, shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. Too much.
Oh, that's funny. Well, in New York you can. But not in LA.
Now, one other thing we can point out, there was an athletic story about how California lawmaker is seeking to close the Shohei Ohtani tax loophole, calling it a massive hidden ball trick. Okay, and we covered that a little bit in the offseason, all the deferred money, and because it gets deferred so far back, you're out of the state, and you can mess with the taxes a little bit. And I'm sure there are Silicon Valley people that have done the same thing. You're a CEO, and you're like, oh, I'm only getting $2 million to run this multi-billion-dollar company. And then you go behind the scenes, and you're like, yeah, and you're getting 100 deferred a year in 2040 when you're living in a different state. So cool.
Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, he played the game right.
Yes.
Yeah, now they might change it though, so you might not be able to take advantage of it.
There's
Brand
people there. He is not Shohei Ohtani, not even in baseball. I get it. It's the most ever deferred in baseball. But if you're talking about money, like people who are running these multi-million-dollar companies, they're the ones that own baseball teams and pay people like Shohei Ohtani. If you don't think they're getting around tax loopholes that this would then encompass, you are blind, and these people are just using this as a ploy to use their political, use a political platform to, hey, look, I stopped deferred money for baseball players. But they better look at their constituents who are deferring, like Scotty said, oh, I'm only getting $2 million, but reality, I'm getting $25 million paid out in my Arizona complex or my Florida complex. Oh, there's no income tax there. Thank you. There's plenty more, and Shohei is just a high-profile person. There's people making way more money that do deferred type of money.
Yes. Welcome to economics.
Welcome to
rich
rich
people.
people.
I didn't make near as much as Shohei, but I told you guys this. I'd always try to get a signing bonus because it would get paid to me in Florida, and we don't have state income tax here. So I'm like, hey, if I'm making $5 million, you give me $3 million up front. Bam, I get it here.
It's a win for both sides.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, bam, that's great for me. I get it now, and I get no state income tax.
Correct.
Yeah, and I only make $2 million for the year, but I still the same $5 million. It's just different.
It happens in the league all the time.
And most teams would do that. Most teams are pretty good about it. They'd be like, all right, we'll give you $1 million or whatever in signing bonus, and then you get the $4 million or whatever. You can negotiate that kind of stuff. But I was always like, give it to me while I'm in Florida, so boom.
Correct.
And then what also people don't understand is like when we travel around, when baseball or athletes travel around, or even entertainers, I'm assuming, like you go to like cities, you pay a city tax. You go to a state, you pay a state tax. Some of them have entertainment tax, city tax, county tax, state tax. You wiped your butt tax, and you didn't check your junk tax. I mean, there's a million taxes. And you got to have an accountant that's like, okay, you got to pay all these different things.
You have it for Fox now, right? I had it every week when I'm doing games, before.
Well, Fox is different because I get paid freelancer and I get paid here.
Oh, okay.
So I don't get.
For me with MLB, I would get freaking notices from half the states because I was all over the place. They were like, you were here for 8 seconds, and there's the 8-second tax.
And don't forget, like now, and Kratz knows this, before Obama became president, he changed the rule, or he pushed this law, where we started getting taxed on tickets.
Oh, really?
So as a player, there used to be a pad of paper, and you would write down who's coming. I'd be like, Scott Braun, 130 tickets. And they'd be like, we'll figure it out.
And they tax you on those tickets.
No, before you didn't. And then they came up with a system, CompTix, and it was called like an entertainer's tax. And so like and you would only get like 4 tickets or 6 tickets per game. And if you didn't have them, you had to be like, hey, Scott, can I borrow your tickets for tonight?
Oh, that's why it's more complicated.
That's why it's a pain in the butt now. And so and then you go in and you're like, Scott Braun, 6 tickets. And then so say the tickets are $50 a piece, you get hammered the tax on it.
Gotcha.
That's why when
$300
playing free tonight, guys are playing free if they go to certain places.
That's why you've seen in the clubhouse, we're like, yo, can I use your tickets for,
what was it? Used to get 4 family and 2 guests. Is that? I mean, I don't know. It's probably changed by now.
So that's what it was. in 2020, and then you'd transfer them. And then, so let's say you go in New York. New York tickets are $125 a pop. You're going to sit in the family section if I'm paying for them. Those are only $60 a pop. But that's,
dude, trust me. You were always like, how much do I like this person? Do they get the expensive tickets or do they get the cheap tickets?
No doubt.
Is this a third cousin calling that I haven't talked to?
No, you're literally like, all right, so that's why, you're like someone will call you and they're like, hey, my niece wants to come to the game. And you're like,
nope.
Yeah, no. And they're like, why not? You get all the tickets you want. I'm like, we pay for them. You want to pay me for them? Then sure, I'm happy to oblige you with tickets. They're like, oh, you have to pay for them? Never mind then. Oh, they go away real quick.
You don't get unlimited free tickets?
You used to.
I know.
When they switched it, they said that the next year they tried to go back and recoup everybody's tickets. They tried to grandfather it back in. Bonnie Clark, who still works for the Phillies, she said she was tagged with every visiting team that comes in. They had the list of who had gotten tickets the year before to go back and charge them for those tickets. Ooh. Whatever happened about that, I wasn't in the big leagues. If you never saw it, AJ, maybe it never came to fruition, but she was telling me about it.
I remember this. I remember we had a meeting, right? Because you literally would just write it on a list. You'd walk in.
Nope.
It was
a minor leagues.
And you'd just be like, all right, boom. 4 tickets, 6 tickets, whatever, 8, 10, 12, whatever. And the traveling secretary would be like, okay, here you go. And he'd get a stack of tickets like this, and you just put them in an envelope, take them down to will call. Well, then I thought it was 2000. I don't remember exactly what year they started it.
I want to say 7.
But then they're like, was it 7? But it was like a big thing because I remember they were like, oh, okay, we're going to tax you on these. And everybody was like, huh? Wait, what? And we got to put them in a computer system now? But what if my cousin's uncle's nephew's brother's sister wants a ticket? You have to pay for it. And everyone's like, oh, man. And the ticket list went, bye-bye. No more freebies.
Yep. Someone goes, wipe your butt tax. LOL. All right. Well, one more, and then we're going to talk to Rowdy Tellez, who was very much in the news recently. He's going to join us. Jackson Holliday made his debut. He didn't get a knock. He went 0 for 4, but he drove in a run.
He looked a little shaky at second base, though. He didn't look totally comfortable. There was a couple plays where it was like some stuff, and it was like,
well, he missed the ball. In the
but that's a
tough play.
But there was also, there was just a couple like he didn't look totally. I mean, that's a nice play right there. They turn it.
Yeah.
But there was a couple where he was kind of like, and I get it. It's his first big league game.
He's 20.
I'm not. This shows his speed right here, though.
Yeah.
Want to see how fast the dude is? Have him hit a ground ball for a double play with an RBI on third, and you'll see how fast the guy is.
Dude, 7, 8, 9 for them is Colton Cowser, who's off to a blazing start. He just can't find consistent playing time. Jordan Westbrook, who had a huge homer in the game to win it, and then Holliday. That's 7, 8, 9. In a year or two, that could be a 3-4-5 or a 2-3-4 or something like that. That's how good that group is. And there's like 6 more of those still waiting in the minor leagues. This talent is ridiculous. Like Kratz, if they have 4 players go down, obviously you hope not, but if they have 4 players go down, like half their lineups hurt, I don't think they would skip a beat.
8 of the 9 guys in their starting lineup last night came up through the Orioles system. If you think tanking doesn't work, you are wrong.
It works sometimes. It doesn't work every time.
Well, no, because if everyone tanks, then someone has to lose games.
It works sometimes.
We'll get to the White Sox later. Don't worry.
They've tanked a few times. It hasn't worked.
It has not worked.
But no, I want to say this. Kratz, I wanted to ask your opinion on this. Now, my whole family, we were in the middle of dinner. We stopped to watch Jackson Holliday's first at bat because my family knows him and his family. So we were like, oh, this is so cool. But there was video. Let's say your son is fortunate enough to make it to the major leagues, of Matt Holliday like on the field, and I would have been like, I want to be as far away. Like I don't want anything on. This is about my son, right? And this isn't a knock. I like Matt. I think he's a great guy. But like to me, it was weird. Like the Orioles were like, hey Matt, why don't you come hang out on the field for BP behind the? I would have been like, no, thank you. Like this is about my son. This ain't about me. Like let him have his moment, do his thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in that, Kratz. You tell me how you would feel.
You're a superstar. Like Matt was a superstar. Like I would be One, I wouldn't be able to afford the tickets right next to the dugout. Two, I wouldn't want to be seen. Again, it's different for me. It's different for me to say this because I'm not a superstar, and Matt and you are treated differently when you go to big league parks. So this is really, this is you and him. If I show up to a big league park, they're like, that's cool. Like, they have no idea who you are. I actually played here. Like, for real? Like, not in like a high school game or something?
Do you have a gold card?
I do not.
Ah.
I didn't reach gold card status. But I know those tickets that Maddie got, Maddie and Leslie were not sitting in the gold card tickets.
No, but those are the team tickets. Those are like at Fenway, like I've had family come and they've sat right there where they were sitting. So those are a part of the visiting teams section. They reserve them for like special people.
I worked for the Red Sox and I never made it and sat
Yeah,
at
this
those
is visiting.
seats.
This is visitors.
Okay.
I mean,
What's a
I played for
gold
the Red
card?
Sox and they sit me outside the stadium.
I know what a gold card is, but can you guys tell the
A
crowd?
gold card is something you get. I don't even know where mine is, which is sad. But they give it
That's
to you when
sad.
you get. Is it 8 years or 10 years of service?
8 years.
And it's a gold. It's literally a gold. It's not real gold, but it's like a.
Lip-
It
Like
looks
Willy
metal.
Wonka. Well, golden
Yeah, it's
ticket.
metal and it's colored gold. And you can walk up to any stadium and hand it to them, and they'll give you two free tickets.
What if it's sold out?
They still will give you standing room only. Allegedly, they're supposed to. I've never had to use it, but I mean, I got it now. You got me thinking where the heck mine is.
My
You gotta find it. And it has to be you. Like, do they ID you and say, is
Well, I
this
can't give it to
Pierzynski?
I couldn't give it to you, and they'd be like, "You're not him."
Like, could you give it to your son and he wants to go to the Rays game with his buddy?
No.
No, I think it has
They'll
to be
check.
me.
They'll
I mean, if
check
it's
you.
the Rays, I just call their
Like,
travel guy and be like, "Hey,
AJ
Westy, I need a
Pierzynski."
couple tickets, please."
To give it
the
to
A
your
is
son.
for Austin. The A in
Yeah.
AJ is.
Well,
for
they'll be
Austin.
like, "You, AJ Pierzynski?" Be like, "Dude, you look 18."
It's a cool thing to get. It's a cool thing to get. Like the 8 years of service. It's hard to get to, and like you get your gold card. It comes to you in the mail at the end of the year. It's pretty cool.
Is that how you get it? They send it? I don't even remember. I don't know.
That's
There's
what
a
I was
gold card
told.
guy.
Again,
I don't know. Like I said, I don't even know where mine is.
I have a gold card from the state police, Pennsylvania State Police, that I'm an honorary member of the Pennsylvania State Police, and it's a gold card. So anytime I get pulled over, that's going out with my license.
Yes.
Did they pull over horse and buggies?
When you go fast
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Still got to watch.
and you
the
have junk
speed
in your
limit.
trunk,
Yeah. Speed limit is 4.5.
They want to check your junk in the trunk.
Ready for our next guest? Rowdy Tellez joining FT Live right now. Part of the first place Pittsburgh Pirates and styling. How does that sound, first place Pirates? You got us, Rowdy?
Sounds great.
Oh, wait.
Now you're muted.
we can't hear him. But this is the new Rowdy, though.
They
Like
said
before,
to tell you to press
this sells
the button.
Rowdy.
He muted himself, thank God.
Not yet. We're going to get it.
No. You got to check your junk, Rowdy.
Can you hear
Yeah.
us?
He can't. He even shaped his beard up for this interview.
Can you hear us, Rowdy? Can you hear us? Nope.
He gone.
I feel like, oh,
Oh.
he's back. Rowdy, this is fun.
This is fun. We're getting seasick talking to Rowdy.
The shot is great.
It is a money shot.
It is.
It's a great
From
shot.
the bank. Oh, he's in
He
Philly.
still
Are you going to
can't-
go see him, Kratz?
Is the whole
He didn't-
interview just going to be us talking to Rowdy and looking
Yes.
at him?
This is his best angle right
Rowdy,
now.
we can't hear you,
We
dude.
can't hear you,
gotta-
bro. You got to
Can you hear
unmute
us?
yourself.
Yeah.
Take the AirPods out.
They said-
Relog into your link if you
Yeah.
can hear us.
They said you sounded fine initially. Can you relog into your link?
Yeah, he just got kicked. Best thing we've ever made. Kicking Rowdy.
Booted him. Kick a Rowdy. Kick a Rowdy while he's down.
He'll come back. It's like the
No,
question
he didn't
was not
invite me
bad.
down. I asked
First place-
him
first
to put
place
me on the
Pirates?
ticket list. I asked
said
him to
you
put me
weren't-
on the ticket list.
He said you weren't worth the taxes.
He said I could sit in the friends section. Then he owes me, and I owe him $25.
Uh,
Oh, and
I
make
figured
sure
in
people
Philly-
know it's not taxes like, oh, it's a $60 ticket, 6% sales tax. $60 ticket goes on your added income. So if you're in a 30, 40, 45% income bracket, whatever the city is, that's what you pay. So a $60 ticket, you're essentially paying $25 for.
So you might as well just buy a ticket. No, but we're getting really granular on tax rates today. 'Tis the season.
Supposed to bring him back. Bring him back.
Okay. Bring him back.
Off mute.
Bring him.
Hey! Damn it.
Dude,
Rowdy.
they had me on this mute thing. My little screen had this little button, and this dude's putting stuff together right next to me, and he has no feel that I'm doing stuff, so it's getting loud.
Tell him this is an interview on the top baseball show.
Yeah, I told
on
him
the
this
planet.
to the show. He doesn't understand that. It's because we're in Pennsylvania.
Well,
what's wrong with that? You're
Wait, you
about
wouldn't
to
leave
get a
Kratz
cheesesteak.
tickets?
Excuse me?
You didn't leave Kratz tickets for tonight?
I would, but I don't know if he comes out this way. He's in that own little world he stays in over there. It's, you know.
The whole team's coming. The whole high school team's coming. It's 15 guys. Just get us 15 tickets. It'll be good.
Do they each wear your jersey for each team?
Oh, that'd be close. I won't
That would
invite
be-
one of the kids. I won't invite one of the kids, and then we'll have it covered.
Yeah, that'd be sick. It's 14 teams, huh?
14 orgs. Yeah.
Nice.
14
do
orgs, and
that.
if we add the minor leagues, then he can bring his whole town.
Yeah.
Rowdy, I had a grand intro for you. I said, let's welcome in Rowdy Tellez, part of the first place Pittsburgh Pirates. How does that sound?
Pretty good. We're playing some good ball, so we got a good team. We have a young team, but it's been really good. Playing some really good baseball, putting together really good at bats. I don't think a lot of people are talking about that. We got to see the most pitches in baseball. I didn't know the Philly airport was that close, but
Good playing.
it's been really good. It's been really fun to be a part of. To start the season.
By the way, you make fun of me all the time for being a bad teammate. I mean, how bad of a teammate were you the other day?
Yeah, you would never do that. That wouldn't even cross your mind. You'd been out of the clubhouse by then. So that really doesn't even compare. Kratz was in a lot of orgs because a lot of teams wanted him for playoff races, and you were just out there. So I don't, there's not a lot to say, but they told me I need to be a nicer person, so I blew that already.
Who told you that?
You pissed me off, AJ.
Who told you that, Rowdy?
My conscience said I need to be nicer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it
And then
because you and
I
Bednar?
saw your face. Then I saw your face and it pissed me off, and I was like, okay.
That's perfect. Hey, is it because you and Bednar kind of look alike? Is that why you went?
You have a real
and did that?
punchable face, and I just want one of these. But no, he's a good dude. He's he's a two-time All-Star, an elite closer, and we all have struggles. We all struggle at some point in our career, years, months, days, whatever stretches. There's going to be parts where you struggle, and I just wanted to know that we have his back no matter what. We're going to roll him out there every time. He's a top-tier closer for a reason, and he didn't deserve that, especially a guy that comes through with the city. He does a lot for the community. He's born and raised there, still lives there. It kind of knowing, I don't know him, crazy well outside of being teammates for a couple months and playing against him, but he's a great dude. It's the same guy every day, and I think it was a real emotional time for him. When he exited that game. So, I just wanted him to know that we all have his back.
Were you and the team like, what the fuck? I mean, this has been one of the best parts of this organization for years now. Like you mentioned, two-time All-Star. Now the times are good. You guys are in a good place. I know it's early as hell, but were you guys looking around like, really? This is who we're booing right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know you could swear on this thing, but
On this show?
yeah, I didn't know. You said the F word. That's not good, but
You've never sweared on this show before?
probably something to do with AJ, per usual.
You sweared 30 times on this show, Rowdy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird because we are playing really good baseball, and it just was like one of those like, does everything have to be perfect? No, but when you're in first place, you're gonna have ups and downs, and it is early, so 2 of the 3 times we were able to bail them out, and that's what teammates do, and that's what teams do is, when when something doesn't go right, you bank on your team to bail you out. And you know, the other day we couldn't as an offense. So you know, it stinks. But like I said, everybody goes through rough patches, and you know, it's just what happens. It wouldn't surprise me if he just rolls out 30 straight saves, goes 30 for 30 on the next one, and nobody cares, and this won't even be talked about.
What did Bednar say to you afterwards?
He came and found me after and just said thank you and what it meant to him. Sent me a really nice text. You know, but all of us play, so you get it where you're with them more than you're with your family for this stretch, and sometimes you just need those little words of encouragement and things to bring it at ease, because it's a lot of pressure playing baseball every day, you know. And as much as fans don't want to understand that we do this for a living too, and you know, we do go home and sleep and do stuff just like regular people that have jobs. You know, it's never fun letting down a team, let alone a city, and something that you feel is huge for you when he's a Pittsburgh guy. So, you know, I just wanted him to know that we had his back and he was good. But, you know, he's an awesome dude through and through, and you know, so just things like that. You know, you don't always do that for guys like AJ.
Rowdy, I do have a question for you since you're looking so fashionable today. Do you always have your road clothes match your team colors, so that way when you like go out after the game, you're like, hey, look at me, I play for the Pirates?
I don't know, the Pirates are camo, dumbass.
They're not black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow?
This looks brown, this looks green and black.
Dude, green, that is – no, I mean, what color is that?
You're colorblind. That's green.
Dude, that is not green on my screen. My screen must be totally
camo.
Huh?
Camo.
Yeah, but his camo looks like black and yellow.
No.
Dude, you are nice try. You tried really hard, and I
didn't.
give you
Like,
credit for
that is black
just
and
like
yellow.
Just like your attempt at Pilates, you tried, but you just didn't get it.
I went yesterday.
No, but that was a good try.
I went
See, now
yesterday.
nobody knows who you are because you don't have that fucking. Damn it! You don't have that stupid fake silver slugger in the background, so nobody knows who you are. But it was a good try, good attempt. Next question. Anyone?
I got one for you. Did you get any flack from fans for sticking up for your teammate and telling them not to boo?
I did, which, I mean, it's just what you got to deal with. I got a lot of I don't have social media, but I had a couple people tell me some things that were said. I got way more slack for that nice legal slide I made into third to break up that play, and the non-slide. I had a couple of Baltimore people tell me I should probably just go die. But
Following me?
I didn't know it was that serious about sliding and not sliding.
Dude, you tried to kill the third baseman on the one slide. Like, that is definitely not a legal slide.
Well, I mean, back when you played against Yogi Berra, you could run the catcher over.
True, we weren't scared of contact.
You can't even think about sliding and touching the runner. Hey, man, I'm talking. I'm on a podcast. Yeah. But you can't even think about like touching a guy. You're just sliding in and making contact. I mean, it's a 15-yard penalty and you're ejected.
What are the similarities from Milwaukee to Pittsburgh that you're seeing that helps you guys winning so far? Is it the players? Is it the talent of the players, or is it like a mindset, like, hey, we got everybody's back, that kind of thing?
I think more of a mindset. You got some really good players here. You have all-stars, Gold Glovers, former MVPs. We have a really good bullpen. But I think it's just a mindset, and something that Shelt harped on is having everybody's back. If one guy fails, the next guy steps up, and then so on, keep it going. But, it's a blue-collar city, and we kind of embrace that. We may not be the high payroll team. We may not have the glitz and glamour of a big market, but we're going to play hard. We're going to go out every day and give everything we got. And then when the ninth inning ends or the 10th, 11th, and the game's over, if we have that W at the end, no matter how ugly it was or pretty it was, it still goes into the win column. And that's all we really care about.
Rowdy, I know you don't have social media, but did you happen to see what certain people on the network run by the league said about you? I think his name is Brian Kenny. He was like, why would Rowdy Tellez defend his guy like this? You know, they were just booing because he had a bad. This is too early in the season to be doing this. Thoughts? Because I was like, this is kind of crap that he would say this. Obviously, Brian Kenny's never been on a team where you're like family for 8 months, and you know you just were up there. And I gave you a lot of credit. I know as much as you say I don't. I gave you a ton of credit in saying, hey, listen, Rowdy Tellez did the right thing here.
Is Brian Kenny a beat reporter for somebody?
No, he's on MLB Network daily.
Oh, dude, I also don't watch MLB Network. But I mean, you make a good point. Guy never stepped foot on the field, so he doesn't understand what it means to guys like that. You know, it's just about having each other's back and showing that, you know, when you're down, you don't need to be stepped on or kicked around. We're going to have your back. If you're down, we're going to be down too. And it's just one of those things that, I mean, I think you make a good point where he says, you know, we're a family here. You know, family doesn't let family fail. We don't let them touch rock bottom. We make sure we get there before they hit rock bottom. And you know, I think that sets a tempo. And I think again, Shelt said that from spring training is this is a family. You spend a lot of time with them, and you are definitely going to have their backs more often than not. You know, pretty much every time, whether it's right or wrong, you got to defend a guy. So, you know, I'm trying to be one of those guys that just is there for everybody, shows everybody I'm here all the time, and whether I'm playing good or bad, you know, just making sure everything's good.
Are you excited? Your family back home where you grew up is now going to get to see Aaron Judge come in and hit home runs against their team?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's like for 3 years, huh?
For 3 years. You think the city can handle it?
I think Sacramento is going to embrace him a lot. I think there's people behind me. They just no understanding of like space. But I think it's going to be a really good situation.
Are you ask those people on the tour if they want to come on and say hi?
Yeah. Hey, do you guys? Nah, dude, they're Philly fans. I'm not dealing with them.
That's so nice of you.
Hey, would you take Les now to go play for the A's? Because they're in Sacramento.
No.
Not hometown. No hometown discount, and
More?
go back to the Bay Area.
Would you
Good
take
try.
more? Would you
Good
take
try.
more?
See, AJ tried another joke there. He tried to slip it in, and I caught it, and it wasn't funny. And see how nobody else got it.
Why? Wait, I have a real question. When you're building a ballpark, why would you ever put the clubhouse in the outfield? Just a real question. Is that a thing like in the minors?
In the minor leagues, it's a thing.
Why?
For space.
Yeah.
Space.
Really?
Yeah, it's space. It's really the only part of that stadium you can build something and still be inside the stadium. Everything else is parking lot around it or a parking lot. Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay.
The only spot you can put it.
Do you think, Rowdy, there was a story yesterday about the A's move and how it went down to Sacramento? And the dude who owns the Kings, they said in this ESPN story, it was like a source said that he thinks there's a chance that they don't end up moving to Vegas. So wherever they currently stand, they might stay. Do you think there's a chance that could happen? And would Sacramento be pumped to get another team?
I think they would. Sacramento would really love it. You know, it's got an NBA team. It's just odd that it is the capital and nobody ever thinks about it when you have LA and San Diego and San Francisco. You have these other massive cities. But, you know, everybody in the Bay Area, you know, doesn't want Oakland to leave, and I don't blame them. You know, it's a winning city. They won a bunch of World Series there, basketball, football, a bunch of championships, and they're losing every team that they have. So I think they're more frustrated than anything, but I think Sacramento is going to do a really good job in opening their arms and bringing in a team for 3 years to play there. And if they do, you know, I don't see why they couldn't. The stadium's built to be bigger. They can add on to it. So, you know, it's actually a cool location to downtown. A lot of surrounding areas that are nice for players. So I think it would be cool if Sacramento ended up with a team.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Can you point out somebody on the Pirates that has surprised you so far?
In what way?
Just like, oh, damn, this dude's really good and has a ton of upside. Like a breakout kind of player that you're either seeing the first couple weeks, or you're anticipating to take another step.
I think I've said this a lot. Throughout a season, you're going to have a lot of guys that are going to step up. Whether superstars or your everyday players aren't playing well, and you have players that are going to fill in and play every day because of an injury, or guys that are just, riding a hot hand. But we got a lot of those guys right now. Jared Triolo's playing really good ball on both sides. Connor Joe is swinging it really well, putting together really great at bats. I think you just have a lot of guys that everybody's going to pull on the same rope. So when you have 2 or 3 guys that are hot at once, you're always going to be moving in the right direction. And then it's not going to be like that all season, where you're going to have multiple guys, different guys that are hot. Some guys are cold, and they're going to do everything they can to help the team win.
You ever sit there at first base and go, O'Neal Cruz just fielded a ground ball. The dude's running down the line as fast as I get down the line, so he doesn't need to rush it. And he starts crow hopping to let one eat. You ever get pissed when he throws it and you're like, come on, man. Like, what's it like? You ended the game the other day and he threw one like a hunch 2 or something like that. And you went to catch it and you were like, you looked angry. Do you ever say anything to him?
Yeah, well, he threw one in the dirt earlier, and I picked it, and I said it's a $100 fine because you have way too good of an arm to be throwing stuff that's burning worms down there. That's just not okay. But, yeah, he does, and he laughs at it, and, he's broken my glove twice already. Thank God it's in spring training and just in between innings, but dude has a bazooka, and it is unbelievable. It's the craziest thing I've seen. It hurts. It's almost like I don't want to catch it in my web because it'll break it, so I just kind of palm it a little bit, and it's just a lose-lose for me. But we get the out.
Wait, are you in the lineup tonight?
I don't think so. No.
Oh,
I'll be in there at some point.
Yeah,
leftyitis. I get it. Rangeritis, whatever you want to call it. It's fine.
He usually hits me. I'm usually on base at least once against him. He usually hits me with a changeup or a slider in the back. Ask him. If you guys ever do talk to him, ask him. He hits me like every time.
Seems like Corbin Burns next week. Yeah, Corbin Burns he's looking forward to it.
Well, he dodged me this year, so that checks out. Spring training, I faced him once, and he was scared to come in. He's all talk. He got his hair cut. He's kind of like Thor. Just he lost all. He's scared Rowdy. It's just what it is.
Okay. Hey, by the way, so there's been 2 people this year that have kind of gotten some beef for slides. You and Reese Hoskins. You're both from Sacramento. Was there something in the water in Sacramento we need to know about?
We just got that dog in us. That's what it is. It's just where we're from. Like I said before, it's almost like you can't even make contact with a guy anymore. Like, if it's a legal slide and the base doesn't protect you, I even talked to Westerberg after he got to first base, and I was like, he just said, he was like, hey man, that's a good baseball slide. And I was like, I appreciate you saying that. Like, I'm not trying to be dirty or nothing. Like, I didn't want to double play turn. So and I felt like I made a good move, and like, it's not like I'm a majestic slider anyway, so it's not like it's pretty. So I just felt like even Reese, that was a clean slide. Stayed intact with the bag, didn't deviate. It's I guess it's just people are scared for contact as players. I've been ran over at first base, believe it or not, by people, and it's just like happens. What am I gonna say? Yeah, I was in the way. I got ran over. So be it. You're still out. You're still out. Whether I'm laying on the ground trying to catch my breath, you're still out. You still got to take that left turn, right turn, whatever dugout you feel like going into, and you're out.
I like it. Makes sense. It's not football, but you're allowed to have a little contact still, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Rowdy, good to see you, dude.
Hey, before you go, I got one question for you. How often do you check your junk?
Check my what?
Your junk.
You got to clarify what you mean.
My jump?
Your junk. Your junk. Your junk.
Dude, you are not on today.
You missed the whole beginning because we were saying like Shohei needs to check his junk when Ippei stole $16 million from him. Like, you need to check your junk, bro.
Do you check your bank account?
Dude. I don't have that kind of money. I'll tell you.
But do you check your junk though, don't you?
If someone steals $16, I have an issue.
Yeah, see?
Living in two very different worlds. Well, that's like the billionaires. Billionaires versus everyone else. They are living in another planet.
Yeah, but still, they check their junk. Smart ones.
They probably do check their junk.
Hey, Rowdy, real quick. You going into the clubhouse and smacking one of them cheesesteaks?
No, dude, I went no dairy. I don't have cheesesteaks anymore. I'll go no cheese on it, though.
What? Then that's not a cheesesteak.
No, it's just a steak then. It's still good. It's still
On
good.
bread, and it's cut up in fine little bits with onions and mushrooms.
And get
It'll
that whiz.
still be
What is
good.
it? Wit whiz, and onions.
AJ, let me tell you something. If someone calls me AJ Pierzynski again, I'm going to be a little upset if my body looks like yours. So I'm just not going to go cheese or dairy. But you keep sitting back there and thinking of jokes. I'll be on in probably another 2 weeks. You can think for 2 weeks. And then when you think of something funny, you can just text me, and then I'll let you know if that's a good one or not. But
Well, I don't have your phone number.
Kratzy,
I don't allow you to have my phone number, so I can't text you.
I'm glad you haven't moved from your house in the last couple of years. But everybody, thanks for having me.
You're the best,
15
Rowdy.
tickets. 15 under
Thank
my
you.
name.
We'll see
See
y'all.
you soon, dude.
I
Epic.
said no.
Epic. So good.
Oh, Rowdy.
He's the best.
He is
the
funny.
best. He's a national treasure, and he's been on this show since day one for a reason.
Of course.
People need to see the personalities in our game.
Yes. And, people in the chat are like, oh, massive fail economy. Dude, people don't get it. Like, Rowdy and I are like siblings. Like, it's just.
No, yeah. Well, also, remember last year he said something about Josh Donaldson and it went all viral. And it's like, dude, you got to watch Rowdy interviews. He's sarcastic.
Yeah.
He's having fun. Okay, this is real, though. Breaking news. I'll give you the tweet. Alden Gonzalez said, Ippei Mizuhara, Shohei Ohtani's longtime interpreter and confidant, has been charged with bank fraud after it was discovered he transferred more than $16 million from Shohei Ohtani's account to an alleged illegal sportsbook. Federal
Bro, what's he
authorities
betting
announced
on?
in LA court.
Not the right things.
What kind of bets is he making?
He's not watching us.
And-
$16 million.
And what bookie is allowing somebody that he knows doesn't have $16 million to bet $16 million?
He does know that he has $16 million because he's probably like, yeah, sure, I'll wire you the money. I'm just stealing everything from Shohei. He has no fucking idea. That is a terrible, terrible crime. $16 million.
Dude, it keeps
Again, I
getting
know
worse.
Shohei's rich, but that's a lot more than 4.5.
Oh, so 16 is better than 4.5? Dude, either way, this is awful.
I'm
many
new.
levels.
I'm new to the betting game here. Just last year is the first time I ever started learning about this. Is $16 million are we talking about the 1% of the world that would ever? Are we talking about 0.1%? 16 million in gambling? Am I how many people are losing 16 million in gambling?
Well,
Dude, did he never win?
Yeah.
Did he never ever win?
Also, we're talking about two different situations here. This is an illegal ring. This is mob shit, right? This is why, in my opinion,
That's what I'm saying.
that it should be legalized and regulated everywhere, because this is getting into a hole, money that you don't have. And in the old days, and even still now, here and there, if you're doing shit with an illegal bookie or an illegal drug dealer or anything else, it could get physical. It could get life or death.
It's entertainment. I don't understand how and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people get up to 16 million and then they double down on the under and the over hits. I don't know. I don't know. That's an amazing. I had to read that tweet a couple times. It's 16 million that he stole from him, or 16 million that he paid to the bookie. Or to the illegal.
No, he stole from him.
He stole 16.
He stole 16 million
he
from him.
probably was using his money for other shit too, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
He's
That's what I'm saying.
Basically open. He's got open funds just sitting there because he clearly had access to his
He
account,
clearly had access to everything.
and he just does what he wants. I mean, he's not the first person to have access to someone's account and steal a ton of money. There's been shit with people that work for companies and they have slush fund kind of shit going on, and they just keep taking money and buying cars and going on private jets.
But if 16 million is what he paid to the illegal gambling guy, then was he stealing more money than that? And this is just what the federal government is charging him with because they have a paper trail? Or is 16 million total and the original number was 4.5 million to the illegal gambling site or illegal gambling bookie
person?
I
mean, either way, he's stealing $16 million from his friend. I mean, he's completely.
If it's just the gambling, though, that means he's stolen more money. Like Ippei's like, I'll take care of this. I'll just get it out of Shohei's account. So could he have stolen more money than this?
I mean, this is what they know about. I don't know. But still,
either way,
I bet. I know one thing now for sure.
What?
Shohei's checking his junk.
Yeah.
For real, he's checking his junk every day now.
Twice a day.
For his wife is definitely checking his junk now.
Yep. Next guest,
Alex Speier. I bet he checks his junk.
And that's bank account, Alex. if you didn't catch that from earlier, great to have you on, Alex Speier from the Boston Globe. Been following your work for a long time. Thanks for joining us. And I mean, we got to start here. I mean, your reaction to what you're seeing right now.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. It is mind-boggling on a couple of levels, right? Like obviously the magnitude of the theft, but also like it makes you pause. Given that Shohei hadn't really been making insane money, the fact that like you could just have that money kind of disappear. Boy, was he making a lot of money in endorsements that you can kind of like move around $16 million as an unnoticed rounding error. But this is all insane, and I mean it boggles the mind. It boggles the mind that this was happening.
Alex, you've been covering the game for a long time, and we'll get into the Sox and some baseball talk. But without naming names, have you ever experienced weird financial situations or stories around players? I mean, we've talked about this because this is a show. We got 10 players on our roster of hosts, and all of them are like, "Damn. That kind of money is being stolen, I would know." And I know people have crazy situations going on, but also Shohei Ohtani is making $30, $40, $50 million a year for including endorsements.
Yeah, I think that as is usually the case, the craziest stories tend to involve Manny Ramirez and the question of just kind of like stacks of cash that he would be leaving around in his glove compartment when the clubby, he would ask his clubby to park the car and he'd be like, "Oh, there's a tip in the glove compartment," and it would be like a stack of $50,000 or $75,000 or something. But I don't think that. I think that this is a game changer, as is so much else with Shohei Ohtani. This is a game changer in terms of the magnitude of what we're talking about with financial weirdness. Although I will say something that someone that AJ has experience with. Jake Peavy was a victim of a considerable financial fraud, and actually I attended a Boston Public Schools event where Jake Peavy after that was talking to kids about financial literacy and the importance of following your junk.
He's checking his junk. He's checking his junk now, Alex. I promise you. I remember when that all went down. He lost double-digit millions too, but That was different though. That was his financial guy, and there was like some shady investments and stuff. That wasn't like, "Hey, I have access to Kratz's bank account. I'm gonna steal $16 million because Kratz says, hey, here you go, you can have it."
The Yankees are paying well when Kratz is working double-digit millions.
I was a double agent. I played for the Yankees and I was employed by the Red Sox. I was doing. I
remember your tenure with the Red Sox. I remember meeting you at your locker and interviewing you.
I actually I was there so short I had a temporary locker in the locker room because they weren't sure who they were going to fire. So they put me in the temporary locker and then they fired me.
I regret that, and I tried it when I play Immaculate Grid, as many of us do. I like to cite players who I covered, so AJ certainly qualifies, and I include you, Erik. Although you're not able to check off the Red Sox square, but you cover a lot of other boxes for me, so thank you.
Yeah, almost an at bat. Almost.
Ratzi, you and I had that in common. We both were the Red Sox for a very short time and only had temporary lockers.
My locker had wheels on it. You know you're not going to be there very long when you can push your locker around the room. But boy, did I get a lot of New Balance shoes. I still have New Balance shoes from those 3 days that I was there. Thank you, New Balance.
Good to have souvenirs.
Yes. Go ahead, Kratz. Did you have a question, or you just wanted to make a statement?
I did. More of a comment, a transition comment. If Ippei stole more money than the Red Sox spent in free agency, how do the Red Sox feel like they're going to sustain this season? How do they feel like they're going to have success in the American League East?
Well, I think that Ippei is slightly trailing the investment in Lucas Giolito, but unfortunately, of course, Lucas Giolito won't be pitching for the Red Sox this year. So I think the reality is that the Red Sox entered this season pretty well aware that if they were going to be competing, they would require like everything going just about perfectly, particularly after Giolito went down. And as we've seen already, things are not perfect in Boston. The loss of Trevor Story is a pretty considerable one. Their best hope for sliver of hope for contention would be that that all of the pitchers who are currently in the rotation continue the steps forward that they've shown thus far this year. And obviously the rotation has done a great job, sub 1.5 ERA through the first dozen games or so. But at the same time, Nick Pivetta is on the injured list. So things get a little bit harder with that. And I don't think that we're going to see a sub 1.5 ERA from the rotation for the entire season. So the reality is that the Red Sox, as much as they would like to compete with the roster that they have and help guys develop, I think that we are looking, this is a continued build. And I think that the likelihood that they would probably acknowledge privately is that this isn't exactly the most hopeful year.
Alex, you good?
Yeah,
Alex,
my phone's blowing up for no reason. I don't know.
Yeah. Can you explain
some sweet vibes though, some chill jams?
Yeah, we did. I was like, is AJ going to do a bit here? Can you explain the pitching situation with Boston to our audience, which is obviously looking at all 30 teams? So they didn't spend like we thought they would this offseason. I think that's clear for everyone. You do have Breslow and Bailey kind of taking over, trying to change things. There are much less, and I've been following all your work. The fastball percentage is plummeting around the whole organization. The fourth layer, I guess, to kind of mix into your answer here is injury concerns. And if we think that their strategy will be effective, but lead to more arm injuries.
So the strategy of more breaking balls, I think, anecdotally, some guys will say, oh yeah, the sweeper hurts my elbow. Other guys will say absolutely doesn't. Nick Pivetta, for instance, had been saying for a while, like, sweeper is not hard on my elbow at all. It's I throw it exactly, I throw it with the same arm action essentially as the curveball. And so it feels completely natural. And the curveball is something that he's been able to throw in his sleep for a long time. I think the jury's out in terms of whether or not there's any correlation between usage of breaking stuff and between injuries. I would think that for some pitchers, it probably does lead to that. I think that for a lot of pitchers, the max everything era is, or like kind of the Icarus era of pitching is what's causing guys to break down. The fact that there's no off season, the fact that every pitch is thrown at 100% at 100% effort levels, starting with live batting practice sessions that are occurring at the beginning of spring training and even in the off season. But to that broader question of what are the Red Sox doing, you nailed it on the head, Scott. They've significantly reduced their fastball usage. They've been through the first couple weeks of the season using fastballs as infrequently as any team in baseball, emphasizing that the pitches that tend to get the least amount of harm are sliders, cutters, curveballs, things that spin. And so they've been leaning on that hard, and it's been an effective strategy in terms of performance, especially of the starting pitchers thus far. But we'll see whether or not it's sustainable from a health standpoint, and whether, as they do become so light on fastball usage, they start to become a little bit predictable. Where there was an outing where Brian Bayo was through something like 14 consecutive pitches that were in the same velocity bandwidth. Like everything was just about 87 miles an hour. and it was either sliders or changeups, slider, changeup, slider, changeup, changeup, changeup. It was a sequence where like the hitters would have it timed up. It was just a question of being able to kind of know which direction the pitch was going to move in, and so I do wonder whether or not there's going to be an element of unpredictability that's been associated with this strategy that's going to be diminishing as the season progresses. We'll see.
It's interesting. It's kind of a different play on what's been talked about and discussed, where everyone is like, "Oh, I'm going to throw every pitch 100 miles an hour." Instead, they're like, "Oh, I'm just going to throw every pitch as nasty of a slider." Maybe it's Craig Breslow. Maybe it's somebody else. We don't know, but so far it's working, at least for the starters. But they do have Pivetta down. Obviously, Giolito's already been down. The question for me is, I'm going to go change kind of the subject here. Trevor Story the other night, man. I mean, that had to be. I'm assuming you were in the clubhouse when he broke down, and man, you just got a feel for this guy, right? He's been fighting and clawing, and then he has just such a freak thing where he dives, playing hard, hurts his shoulder, out for the year, just tearing up, crying as he spoke to the media. I mean, it has to break your heart as a baseball fan.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the right way of putting it. You saw it as soon as you saw it happen in Anaheim. I was out there for the Angels Red Sox series, and you could see just it just gutted everyone who was around. Like, obviously you're watching Story kicking the ground in agony. Rafael Devers immediately throws his hands over his head because seeing Trevor Story down, seeing anyone down is an awful, awful sight, but especially everyone knows what Trevor Story has been going through over the last couple of years and all of the work that he did in order to try to get back and be a contributor last season when he was behind the eight ball, after he had the internal brace surgery in January, and trying to get back to be productive by August, and then finally getting through a healthy offseason. And he would talk, every time you talk to him, he would say, "Man, it just feels good to be back out there. It feels good to be healthy and feel like I should be able to perform to the greatest of my abilities." And for him, he's one of these greatest ability is availability guys, right? He had been a 150 games a year guy for as long as he had been with the Rockies, and then he comes over to Boston and he's been anything but. And it was unrestrained emotion. What we saw was just incredibly honest, and I think that it forces everyone who cares about the game to step back and appreciate how passionate players are about being a part of the game. But it's an awful sight to see people who are unable to, who want something so badly and who are just physically unable to chase it. It was heartbreaking.
Whether I was the home team player or I was the away player, when you come into Boston, the energy in Boston is just, even the COVID season, there was no fans in the stands except for some drunk guy that climbed over the green monster and escaped into the stands. What was the energy like there last night when the Orioles roll out their 20-year-old prospect with 8 of the 9 players in their starting the game yesterday came from the Orioles system? And as the Red Sox, you're sitting there going, all right. Was there a sense of oh man, this is what we should have also? We have a good minor league system. Why isn't this happening? Or was it energy in Fenway? Hey, we get to see a new 20-year-old break into the big leagues, even if it is for another team.
Yeah, the ovation for Jackson Holliday in the pregame introductions was just when they're saying the starting lineup that was a big ovation for Jackson Holliday, one of the bigger ones you'll hear for a visiting player. And I don't think it was just the Holliday family, although they were certainly well represented. But part of that is that there are a bunch of Orioles fans who are making it into Fenway Park. And Alex Cora's talked a bit about the fact that the visiting team has more and more representation at Fenway Park. There are a lot of tickets available that hadn't been available in past years. So the dynamic is shifting in the park. But I think that everyone is excited whenever there's an opportunity to glimpse maybe the next great thing. In terms of the question of whether or not there's a sense of why don't we have that? I mean, the Orioles got to pick 1-1 a bunch of times, right? So I'm not sure that there's a sense that the Red Sox should have that, but there is a sense that the Red Sox have an improving pipeline. They do have guys who are coming, but they're not coming on that Jackson Holliday schedule of being in the big leagues out of high school in less than 2 years. They have one guy in the minors who's in Double-A who may not be too far behind that. It's possible. Roman Anthony, who is a close friend of Jackson Holliday's and works out with him in the offseason, might be up by the end of the season. Or maybe it's Marcelo Meyer, who was the number 4 overall pick in the 2021 draft. Maybe he makes it up this year. Maybe Kyle Teal, a catcher who was drafted last year, has a chance to make it up by the end of this season. But to me, it underscores how daunting it is for anyone in the AL East to think they're going to be able to keep pace with the Orioles just by developing. I think that the Orioles system is what the Orioles have in terms of homegrown guys who are going to be together for years and years and years now, is going to surpass what anyone else in the AL East can trot out for a while. And so you better have a really good player development system, be doing a great job of developing players at the major league level, and then you probably need to spend a lot of money on top of that to get top-end talent if you want to close the gap.
Alex, can you grade the Ceddanne Rafaela extension? And I know there's nothing else imminent, but they've got Bello and Rafaela down. How far apart do you think they are with Tristan Casas, and should they just wear it and give him some more money? Because it does sound like he would be interested. It's just not getting to the number that he wants. And if they really believe in him and they want to go past the sticking point of a comp, they might want to look back at their recent history and say, probably should have just given Mookie Betts a little more and called it a day.
That's an interesting one, right? The gap with Mookie was always $100 million in every negotiation. Started with them offering 100. He says 200. Next offseason, it's like, okay, we'll give you 200. He's like, I think I'm good with 3. Then it goes from 3 to, Red Sox 3, Mookie 4. He was right every time. It's an interesting dynamic. Casas isn't going to be, he's a first baseman. He's not Mookie Betts, right? Like the way that Mookie can impact the game, if you have a $100 million gap, and I don't know that the gap is that big, there is a real gap in terms of like how they're approaching the conversation about an extension, then I think the risk isn't quite the same. I think that there's a large interest on the part of both sides in getting an extension done eventually. I just think that Casas has to establish more of a track record for it to happen. I think that he's just a guy who probably, I think that there's going to be a good shot to get an extension done, but it's going to require him being a little further along in service time and in terms of like just a clear performance track. Because last year, Casas was amazing for a half a season, not so amazing for the first half of the season. And he's also a first baseman, which goes into a different financial stratosphere. So I think that one will play out. In terms of the Rafaela extension, it's a really interesting one, right? Because he's a glove first guy who they like the offensive upside of, but we still haven't seen him hit in the big leagues. So in a way, there's some, I have some echoes of Jackie Bradley Jr. in his early career with the Red Sox. If you look at Jackie Bradley, he spent 8 years with the Red Sox and he ended up earning $30 million. That was before he came back to the Red Sox via the trade that brought him back from the Brewers. But Rafaela has now a guaranteed 8 years and $50 million. They have certainty, right? They have an established bit of money on the books in terms of what his AAV is going to be, so they can figure out luxury tax stuff down the road, and that's helpful. The likelihood that they're going to save a ton of money, I question that, but I think that even if they don't save a ton of money, the fact that they've gotten a couple of free agent seasons of control out of him, and 2 to 3 maybe, if he never goes back down to the minors, like that represents a nice source of stability for them, and it's not something that's going to blow up their payroll in the future. So it makes sense. It's not a huge bargain, but it puts them in a good position to figure out the rest of their roster moving forward.
Alex, before you go, I know it's sad, and it was an incredible thing they did on opening day. You have your Wakefield pin on, your 49 pin. What was that day like? What was it? I mean, obviously they did the 20-year reunion at the same time with the 04 guys and had Manny and David and everybody in town. But what was it like when Bree threw out that first pitch and her and Trevor lifted up the World Series trophy? What was the emotion like in that stadium?
Kind of overpowering. I think that as anyone who got to know Tim deeply appreciated him as a wonderful human being first, and then as someone who was an incredibly devoted to his family, incredibly devoted to his organization. I wrote a story a couple of days ago about how Tim Wakefield was unique in terms of how he viewed his relationship with his team, to the point where he signed a lifetime contract with the Red Sox essentially, that was a one of a kind. Major League Baseball actually made it illegal after he had signed it, to have this idea of a renewing option. He basically redid the reserve clause because he just wanted to be with the Red Sox for the rest of his life. He turned down an opportunity to go to another organization because he cared after when the Red Sox were ready to move on after 2011, because he never wanted to be with another organization. And that was felt. That was felt by everyone in the fan base who had gotten to see him pitch for 17 seasons as a Boston Red Sox. He spent more time on the Fenway Park mound than anyone else in history. He spent more seasons in a Red Sox uniform than any other pitcher in history. And so to be able to feel that with the people who he had felt for so many people kind of like an extended part of the family, and someone who cared about them like family, even if they had never met him. It was an incredibly powerful moment to see his incredible family represented beautifully and appreciated fully by, overshadowing even the events of 2004.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, knowing them personally it was hard to not get emotional. And I mean, I was just watching it here on TV, but I can't even imagine what it was like for everybody in that ballpark when Trevor and Brianna came out and did the whole thing. I mean, and I thought the Red Sox and Nesson and everybody that put the video montage together did an incredible job. Not only highlighting Wake, but also, the incredible accomplishment of the 2004 team. So well done, Red Sox, well done, Nesson, and well done just everybody in the city of Boston that was there for that moment.
Well done, Bree, because I'm not sure if you saw, but she was definitely no break on.
Oh yeah.
She was getting it up there to Tech as a knuckleball. So good for her.
Good for her.
Alex, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to have you on here, and for everyone that enjoys this convo, check out his work in the Boston Globe. Obviously, people know you in Boston, but the rest of the crew here watching at Alex Speier, Speier. Thanks again, Alex.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, Alex Speier joining us on FT Live. We have many more details emerging from the Shohei Ohtani story. We are gathering them all over the next minute. So we'll step aside for 30-ish seconds, and then we will bring some crazy-ass shit to you. Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of Foul Territory. Unified Healing is an innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or EE System. This technology promotes wellness and deep relaxation, and there are hundreds of locations across the globe. Interested in experiencing the EE System technology for yourself? Go to unifiedhealing.com/foul to learn more and find a center near you. That's UNIFYD healing.com/FOUL. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including EE System. Woo, back to breaking news. There's a lot happening.
Dude, this is crazy stuff. I mean, some of these tweets, Jason Stark tweet, he made 19,000 wagers in 2 years. What the hell was he betting on? Everything? How many times he breathed that day? How many was he betting on? Because he said he bet on soccer games. I mean, I have a Tottenham shirt on. Was he betting on how many times Tottenham's passed the ball? And who the next was he live betting? Next pass is going from Kane to Son, and then back to Kane, and then back. What? 19? That's you'd have to be doing it every second of every day.
Well, let's run through it here. The complaint, and this is the federal investigation, is 37 pages. Jason Stark helping to unravel some details. The complaint states that between December 2021, which is not that long ago, and this January 2024, Ippei, Ohtani's translator, or interpreter is what I've been told to call it, allegedly placed, quote, approximately 19,000 wagers. Losing bets, 182.94 million. Winning bets, 142.27 million. Total losses, nearly $40.7 million. Allegedly, the winnings were deposited into his own bank account, not Ohtani's.
So he took the money out of Ohtani's, lost it, or won it, and then put it in his own?
I guess.
But okay, so then here's my next question, and again, we're getting more as this happens. But the IRS, they do check your bank account. You just can't deposit like, hey, I miraculously made $1 million today.
Yeah, but it doesn't go in and out that quickly. Like it's in these websites. I've seen them from friends growing up.
But
back in the day, they have these websites that are set up. It's usually run by companies that work in other countries, and you have a flow going in and out, and then every once in a while you have to pay that or you receive that money. That's how it works, or that's how I've seen it work, right? It's not like every day he's getting it into the account.
Yeah, but at some point, like like let's say he's up $1 million, like he's just going to be like, oh, I fired $1 million into my account. People are going to be like, where'd you get the $1 million?
Yeah.
I mean, on a translator salary, I'm assuming that's he's not making $2 million a year.
He is not. He was getting paid well into 6 figures, but not 7 figures.
But, wow, it's amazing. But he was down $40 million. So was he just going to steal $40 million from Shohei?
Probably would have just kept going. Would have kept going. I mean, other parts that we're learning here from the federal investigation, sounds like they said, we don't believe any bets were made on baseball games. Investigators also relied on phone calls from the bank in which Mizuhara falsely identified himself as Ohtani to trick and deceive bank employees into authorizing the transfers. The complaint outlined one specific transfer on June 20th, 2023, of $500K to an associate of a bookmaker. While the bookmaker's not named in the complaint, his role in detail matched that of Matthew Boyer. That's the dude that's under the investigation. And then also the U.S. Attorney's Office said Ohtani was interviewed by federal investigators last week and denied authorizing the wire transfers. Ohtani provided his cell phone to law enforcement, who determined that there was no evidence to suggest that Ohtani was aware of or involved in Mizuhara's illegal gambling activity or payment of those debts.
I mean,
there's a massive complaint document here that
you're going to read and you're going to get back to me.
Going through. Well, we're bringing out the good stuff right now. I mean, this is the juicy details that we've been waiting to hear about.
So if he walks into a bank, first of all, let's say it's in Japan, and he goes, "I'm Shohei Ohtani." Do you don't think they know what Shohei Ohtani looks like? Does he have ID that says he's Shohei Ohtani?
No, it's a phone call.
No, he said he walked into a bank. It says he went into a bank and said he was Shohei Ohtani, identified. Or, oh man, this is crazy to me.
No, recorded phone calls. Didn't go into the bank.
Recorded phone calls.
Called the bank. Yeah. Called the bank and said who he is and had all his information. That does happen. I've done a couple legal wire transfers before, and for a small amount of money, and the bank called and they asked a bunch of questions and are you authorized to send
if I go into a bank,
blah.
If I call into a bank and say, hey, I want to transfer money, they're going to call me back on my cell phone and make sure it's me. Well, Ippei probably had but gosh, this is great, man. He went through it all.
He went through it all. I mean, we're going through some of this.
Dog.
On or about June 23rd, 2023, Ippei messaged his bookie stating, quote, "I'm the worst, LOL. Can't catch a break. Can I get one last bump? I swear this is going to be my last until I get the balance down significantly. I promise this will be the last bump for a while." Bookie responded the same day stating, "Okay, NP, no problem. Done."
Well, here's another question for me. If him and Shohei were allegedly, they were together all the time, right? Weren't they allegedly like together 24 hours a day?
Not 24. They were at the ballpark together. I'm sure he went home and...
No, they're together. Man. They're together off the field too.
Yeah.
I mean,
When was he making I want to know when he was making these bets.
If he's on his phone, like he can make them in the field. Like he's not sitting there like spotting him but he throws with, I think somebody was saying Ippei and him, they would throw together out in the outfield. I know other translators that would throw with the player that they were the interpreter for. It was, they're together all the time. He was averaging making 26 bets a day.
Gosh, man. Crazy. This
People
whole thing
are
is
on their
crazy.
phones playing video games for 2 hours a day or more. I'm saying even players, right? There's players that sit on their phone, they're texting, they're on socials, and they go home and they play video games for a few hours.
Yeah. I know. Listen, it's just crazy to me that this can...
You're just reading all the details as we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. Just think of that number. Just marinate on the number $182.94 million is what his losses. He won over $142 million.
How does 26?
But that's just what he placed against what, like what he won versus what he lost. The real thing is he was placing a very large quantity of illegal bets on a daily basis.
250 million a day. I mean, 250,000. If I'm basing it on 730 days.
Yeah, but dude, 26. How does he get to 19,000 in 2 years at 26 a day? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
19,000 divided by 730.
Yeah, I guess that's
okay.
right. Yeah, so you're right. Jeez.
Let's spin this forward. All this coming out, right?
This is all just crazy.
Wait, but here's where I like our show, you guys. All this is coming out. We had details come out a few weeks ago, or really just the story dropping when the Dodgers were out in Korea. It shook the sports world for sure, and that was before we had many details. Now we're finding this out. Shohei Ohtani made the statement about Ippei publicly before the domestic season started. The Dodgers are off today, and they're back on tomorrow, obviously, for the weekend, taking on the Padres in a big series. Anything happening in the clubhouse if you're his teammate, even if you don't know him that well? I'm saying like you don't even go up to him and just be like, "Hey, dude," or you're just ignoring everything.
There'll be some Rowdy Tellez. There'll be some Rowdy Tellez that go up and be like, "Hey, bro, you got a couple bucks I can borrow?"
No, like just to bug with him.
Right, Kratz? Well, there'll be somebody that would say, "I don't know, Shohei." Yeah, just to kind of.
That's what I'm asking. Like, what happens in the clubhouse? Because
there's going to be somebody that's going to go up. And again, I don't know how well they know. Now, if he was on the Angels, still they're definitely. Now the Dodgers are different because they're a new team.
Yeah.
But if you're with somebody for a long time, and again, I mean, it's sad, man. It's just sad. But most people just won't say anything to him because most people will be like, I don't know what to say to him, right? Because what do you say to somebody that just found out they lost $16 million in 2 years and had no idea? I mean, it's like,
to their friends.
Now, if there's a good friend, that knows him, then somebody might say something to him. But it's like, all right, let's go get the Padres tonight, boys.
If I was at dinner with him after the game, I would say, this sucks, but nobody's hurt physically. You are rich as fuck. And they caught the dude. So, worst things can happen. It's a crazy-ass story, but he's a rich man. I don't know. Maybe the money gets recouped anyway, and no one got hurt. I'm wondering what the charges will be, like you mentioned at the top of our show. Like, is he going to prison for this, his dude?
He's got to go to prison for this. At this point, he has to.
Plea deal.
Right, Kratzy? I mean, yeah, but if he pleads, what's he going to plead down to? He's going to get something, right? I mean, there's got to be $16 million.
He could say, this dude, look at these texts. This guy's like, yeah, go for it. Go more. Give me more.
But just the fact of him wiring a bookie money is illegal. So that's wire fraud.
But usually they go after the kingpin.
True, but he's got to get something. They're not going to be like, it's okay, Ippei, you can go back to your translator job and nothing. Oh. No, I mean, there's something going to happen.
Facing up to 30 years? Woo. Is that what it is?
I don't know if he's going to get 30 years, but he's going to get something.
All right. We'll keep everyone posted. That's what he said next?
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
How do we not have Brian Bumgarner or
that's all
Steve Carell saying like that's what he said?
You know Steve Carell?
We can probably get to him.
If you can get Bumgarner, that'd be great. Kevin from The Office would love it. Just a quick voice memo and tell him we're going to use it on the show often. Ron Washington spoke about umpire Doug Eddings. He was not happy with his calls in yesterday's game. Quote, I do think in that ninth inning he must have had a flight that he was missing. That's exactly the way he called the game. He called the game like he had somewhere to go. We like to go to the stats. And umpire scoreboard does a great job. I was looking last night, umpire scorecard. I was like, come on. But they usually don't come out until the next day. Called strike accuracy, 81%. It's not the worst we've ever seen.
Plus 0.3 runs for LA, meaning he favored the Angels, actually.
True. But there were some calls. Yeah, sure, he made poor calls on both sides, but Ron Washington wasn't having it. Kratz, I know you love this stuff.
The end of the game, if you watch the calls he was pissed about, they were strikes. I mean, this is showing us they were strikes. And I get it. What I loved was Ron was you can't see balls and strikes outside, east and west. You can see north and south from the side. And we saw Aaron Boone earlier in the night get tossed when John Bacon called a pitch down to Verdugo. Ultimately, this was Ron Washington's chance to be like, if my guy in the box is pissed, I trust him. I'm going out there and I'm giving him what I got.
Yeah, listen, this is blasphemy to me because I love Doug Eddings. We have a long, rich history of him making great calls for me and my team. So listen, Doug can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. So Wash, I love you, but you're wrong on this one. Doug Eddings can do no wrong.
Jacob just said Doug Eddings might be worse than Angel Hernandez.
No, dude,
Stop.
no.
Jacob.
No.
Doug Eddings is actually one of the better ball strike umpires.
That whole crew. Now, before they had the computer, he would get a little big sometimes. But you knew it going in. You're like, Doug is going to call more. And I'll tell you what else Doug can do. Doug fires the damn ball back to the pitcher harder than anybody I've ever seen as an umpire. I mean, he would go, dude, I'm telling you, he fired it at him.
Wolfie's more.
Wolfie's biceps got too big, so he couldn't throw it anymore.
And he's got a good knuckleball. That crew, I mean, there is not a lot of jokes being said. Bill Miller and Doug Eddings in the same crew, you are not talking much behind the dish. They'll kind of give you a couple sentences. And
Doug Eddings would talk my ear off. Are you kidding me? He loved me. Dude, did you remember this? There was this play in 2005 where I swung and missed, and the ball hit the dirt, and I ran to first, and Doug Eddings was like,
"Wait, this happened? This happened?"
It was tweeted about frequently last night after the game. They were like, Doug Eddings has been an Angels hater for decades now. And
yeah, because he remembers he's holding on to that in the ninth inning. He's holding on to that and man, I'm going to screw these guys over.
No, dude, we had so many conversations about that all this stuff behind the plate after. I mean, because years. I mean, I played for decade after, and we'd have conversations about it. And Doug would be like, "Man." He's like, they still hate me in Anaheim because of your dumb ass.
Well, they hate him again. So Jackson said Eddings punched out the ninth inning leadoff batter on a bad pitch. Tampa Bay Beast, Joe Adell not sliding and
that's the bigger thing for me.
Down 4-2 was quite a decision.
Wash kind of went after him a little bit of that, and he didn't say him by name, but first of all, how do you not slide? And where's he going? Is he going to third base? He should just better off just keep going, and maybe they mess up the rundown. I don't know, but I don't know what Joe Adell was doing. It was whoever was catching for Tampa Bay was like, thank you, that's a caught stealing.
Yep.
Okay. This is a fun one. Carlos Correa on why he's the one making the relay throw as the shortstop from pretty much foul territory in right field. Thank you for the plug. Do Hyung Park covers the Twins. Quote from Correa, if Edouard Julien had a better arm, then I would let him go get it. That's what I tell him. That's great.
Love it.
Did you ever play on a team where the shortstop took the relay from right?
No, I did not.
No, but I played on teams where they were like, hey, to the second baseman, let the other guy get it. We want him to have the ball. We never exactly said it, but we never said it quite like Carlos said it, but there were times where our manager would be like, hey, we want Juan Uribe to have the ball because he has a better arm than whoever the second baseman was, and let him go get it and fire it because he's going to throw it way harder and faster than the other guy. So, there was trust me, Simmons, when we had Andrelton Simmons, they're like, we want this dude to touch the ball every chance we get.
I want him to pitch.
Correa has a rocket arm.
He does.
I love watching Correa throw. It's like how do you describe the way he throws?
Awesome.
Yeah, but his mechanics.
He short arms it.
Yeah,
He
but
gets right here. He's almost like catcher, and he just goes right over the top.
It's like a Terminator kind of throw. You know,
That's what I'm saying.
It's
But he's like short arm, and it's like right here, and then it's like. Whoom.
Yeah, I love it.
Henry Rowan Gardner style.
No, he was more back here though. Remember, he was like
He was here to.
On the topic of injuries suck. Got 2 today. 1, Kodai Senga moved to the 60-day IL. We're just going over timetables today.
Yeah, but that was more of a paper move.
Yeah, but now at one point it was mid-May. Now we're looking at May 27th as the
Is he
first
even
time
throwing
he's
or
eligible.
anything?
He's not throwing yet.
So I mean, that May 27th. That's what, almost 8 weeks. That's not even going to happen probably. If he isn't throwing yet, 8 weeks, no chance. We see him at least till July.
July? I was going to say June. Well, it depends. When is he throwing? I don't know.
Well, but if he hasn't started throwing,
double it up. If he hasn't thrown for 6 weeks, it's a 12-week. It's a 12-week reboot to be able to get him back in game.
Dude, it's a long so if a pitch he hadn't thrown for 6 weeks, right, since spring training.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're gonna start him out at like 45 feet, and he's gonna get like 20 throws. So he's gonna be like, there's gonna be 6 trainers out there, and the manager and the pitching coach. He's literally gonna be going like this, and then they give him a day off, and they say, okay, now tomorrow you can ramp it up to 30 throws at 45 feet, and he's gonna go, whoa. And there's literally someone out there with a clicker. 1, 2. And then they take another day off, and they say, "Oh, how do you feel?" Okay,
yeah,
well,
it's slow.
I mean, it's just such a slow process. And then if he's a starter too, they're going to want him ramped up. So he's going to go 1 inning, 5 days, 2 innings, 5 days, 3 innings, 5 days, 4 innings, 5 days. There's almost a month right there, right? Because they're probably bringing back when he can probably get those 75 pitches.
It's going to be a minute.
So it's going to be a while.
We have a timetable on Yoan Moncada. It's a broad timetable, but it's a terrible timetable. So he fell going to first. He has a left adductor strain, which we went over. It's a groin strain, essentially, right? Ish. Recovery time 3 to 6 months. That tweet from our friend Chuck Garfine. And Bob Nightingale added, Moncada, final year of his 5-year, $70 million contract, out at least until the All-Star break and perhaps for the entire season. Also, Scott Merkin with the stat on the big 3. He said, according to MLB research done back on February 19th, the trio of Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert Jr., and Yoan Moncada had played together in 158 of 546 games since the debut of Luis Robert Jr. in 2020. That was entering this season. This season, they played 3 games together. And then that's it. Huge fail. Also, the injuries are kind of similar. No, I'm not a doctor,
hips.
but
all 3 are hips. Hips, groin.
Hip, groin. Right. It's the hip for Robert. And that's the second time he's had that same injury.
Yeah, I mean, last time they already said he's out for at least a month. They said 1 to 2 months. That's
and
a
then
long
these
time.
2 have the adductor.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to play doctor, but also like there's no rules. We can try. Why are they all getting the same injury over and over?
Didn't I ask that yesterday? What are they doing different than no other team?
I don't know.
It's weird.
Time to review that.
I don't know. I guess Eloy's supposed to be back quick, right, Kratz? Isn't he supposed to be the first one back?
That's what I heard, but I haven't heard it. I haven't heard anything except for when he went down, when they're saying he was going to be back. But not to pile on the White Sox here. This should be a prime case of organizations with young talent. You need to go for it. I'm not saying the White Sox did or didn't go for it. Not debating that here. You need to go for it. 3 guys that you would have a hard time believing when you had them in your organization thinking, whoa, when we have these 3 guys together in the big leagues, these guys are going to be our dudes. This is when you have to go for it. The teams, when you have it, you never know what's going to happen. People can say, oh, they're injury prone. They're not like our prospects. Go for it. Make the move. Get your Corbin Burns. Get your Dylan Cease. Get your junk.
They kind of did go for it, though. Remember, they brought in Lynn. They brought in, the Hendricks, right? They brought in a bunch of their guys.
Kendall Graveman. They had Hendricks.
They kind of went. I mean, they went for it. They didn't go full throttle.
They were in the
but
playoffs. They were in playoffs in 21
and 20. They went both years.
Yeah.
They went both
I
years.
forgot
20,
about
they
that.
lost to the A's in the COVID year, and then they went out. Hendricks shoved it up their butts. They went out and got Liam. He obviously got hurt and had cancer and all the things that happened to him. But like, my better question is Yohan Moncada, 3 to 6 months. That's such a wide. Like normally it's like
Is he having
6
surgery?
to 8 weeks, but 3 to 6 months.
Is he having surgery?
Not that I saw.
Okay. Because I would say that large of a gap, I would say it would be based on, hey, when we go in here, hopefully we don't find this. It could be 3 months, but if we find this is terrible, it could be 6. I don't know. Obviously, it's new news.
No doubt.
Let's get Garfinkel on here and ask him.
Take advantage of your winning window.
Well, they did. They thought they did. And they thought, remember they brought in, okay, so they 20, they go. They bring in La Russa in 21. They win the division. They get their butts kicked by the Astros. Fine. And no shame in that at the time. And then 22, they're like, all right, we're still here. We got the same team. We made the playoffs. And they went crash and burn. And then they're like, well, La Russa ain't the answer. Let's go get Pedro Griffel, as certain people call him. Pedro Griffel. And they lost 100 games last year. And now they're going to probably lose 100 games again this year. But this year they obviously aren't trying near as hard as they were. But I mean, they went and got Grandal, right? Benintendi, Lance Lynn. I mean, they went out and made some moves for some dudes. It wasn't like they were just standing pat. Hendricks, Graveman. I mean, they were trying. It just didn't work.
I wasn't at all saying they weren't trying. I was saying if you have this young core, go for it. Do what the Orioles did. Get Corbin Burnes if you can get him, because these windows close, and this is the slow closing of the White Sox window of 3. To me, when I saw him in the minor leagues, elite prospects. You barely even saw Eloy Jimenez in the minor leagues. Eloy was just like, I'm not going to even really play in the minor leagues. I'm just going straight to the show.
Who, Eloy?
Yeah.
No, he played in the minor leagues. He was a Cub guy.
I'm saying
yeah, him and Steve for Quintana back in the day.
Saying it was a quick
I'm
rise.
saying it was short, and it was big league deal right away. Like, you rarely do those contracts miss. So you have 3 guys, to me, that are going to be the core of your team. And other teams should do that and push in. And if you get it wrong, you get it wrong. But at least you gave it a shot. And I think, like you said, the White Sox gave it a shot. They filled holes where they needed to.
And they thought they did. Clearly, they messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I know. They did. They tried. I mean, they didn't go full throttle as the Red Sox, but they went like 3/4 throttle.
Did you bring that up on purpose because our next guest is ready? So
she definitely knows about the Red Sox and their full throttle offseason.
Full throttle every time we talk to her, and it's the first time we're talking to her in this baseball season. Our friend Lucy Burdge joining us right now. Time to go over some locks. Lucy, how are you?
I'm great. You really can't go more full throttle than the Red Sox have gone, so it's kind of impossible from what I've seen. They're just full throttle into the dumpster. You know, that's how it's been going.
Do people use that term in Boston all the time now?
Yeah, and they do it with the accent. They're like, I want my Dunkin' hot, whatever, full throttle, please. They definitely say please. And full throttle is like, it's like Gerard Mayo saying burn some cash. The two go hand in hand. It's a very big thing where, the ownership will say one thing, the front office, and then they 2 days later retract it. That's kind of what is expected here.
It's a nightmare.
It's fun.
It is.
It's fun for us.
It is fun because it's funny, but
it's hilarious.
They really love to play with their fans a little bit here. And hey, fans are speaking back. Attendance doesn't look great. Well, attendance is good from the visiting side. A lot of Orioles fans.
Okay.
In the
Well, you know
yesterday.
what? It was a Wednesday night and it was kind of raining. It was the second game of the season. And yeah, normally in a good year, they will be full. And it's the second game of the season. Everyone would be very excited. But it was raining. So what do you expect?
By the way, I just want to say this for the record, bandwagon much, Lucy, because over your shoulder it used to be a Red Sox. Now it's not a Red Sox poster. So we know what bandwagon you jumped off of.
Yeah, well, now it's Sopranos artwork, so it's kind of just all all teams. My brother gave me this for Christmas, so I thought, you know what better way to replace the Red Sox vision board, which had definitely been working, with something else, and maybe I will not jinx them. Maybe it was a jinx. So now I have the Orioles to win the World Series and not the Red Sox, and maybe it will be the year to celebrate the 20th anniversary of them winning the '04 World Series. Maybe they'll win it again. Based on how they've looked, I think it's possible.
Hey, the Sopranos never lose, and I like the Ippei theme that you have with the Sopranos behind you. That's good. We covered that story a lot today. So, all right, let's get to Wednesday's locks, shall we? I know it's Thursday. Wednesday was terrible, but we are accountable here. If you piled up all of our bets and went the opposite way, you crushed it. Everybody lost.
Even Bandit the raccoon lost.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I like how Papelbon did. That's good.
You like the Pap edition for us, Lucy?
I love it.
Are you a Papelbon fan?
I am. He's phenomenal. He follows me on Twitter, so I do like him. I always like that. But no, I think that he brings the right amount of chaos to any situation, and I love that.
He is human caffeine. I love him.
Okay,
so let's get to our locks of the day. You lead us off. You got a Boston special for us?
I sure do, and it is none other than Tyler O'Neill to go over 1.5 total bases. This is plus 135 at Bet MGM, so you're getting a little bit of plus money there. He is tied. If you haven't heard, tied for league leader in home runs. He's tied with Mike Trout. They both have 6. And he has 12 total hits with 3 in the last 3 games, 9 total bases, and 2 home runs in those games. Grayson Rodriguez starting for the Orioles. And in his last start, Grayson Rodriguez, Gray Rod, gave up 2 home runs and 6 total hits. So I think Tyler O'Neill has a great chance. He's batting .343. I think he's got a great chance to get that average up even higher with over 1.5 total bases tonight.
I like it. I mean, I picked the same game, and I thought about Tyler O'Neill, but he's been too hot. He's been too hot for me. So I went Devers. Devers didn't get a hit last night, and I figured, he's due. He hits doubles, especially in Fenway. Might go deep. But then I also looked up the numbers against Garrett Whitlock, who's pitching for the Red Sox, and Ryan Mountcastle has gone deep off him. So I went doubled up on him. I went over 1.5 total bases for Mountcastle and for Devers, and that gets me to plus 333. So it worked out. That number worked out for me last time, so I'm going to ride it.
I like that a lot. I know there's a lot of opportunity with the Orioles. Santander to hit a home run, I also like tonight, but not my lock.
Okay.
Well, Jackson Holliday, by the way, total bases was a negative, and I was going to pick him. He went 0 for 4, but he was minus. I was like, I don't know.
To get a hit, same thing, minus 150.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I think he's getting a knock tonight.
I think so. It's enticing. It really is. You get that feeling. Yeah, somebody knows something.
Kratz, you and me have a similar take on tonight's game, and it's that the Orioles are going to win. I'm just going money line. I need to get back on the winning side, so I can't take. I've been getting hooked. I can't take another 5-4 win. Like Cleveland comes back yesterday and wins, but it's a walk off, so they can't get their 2-run win. So I'm just going money line minus 125, and you're gonna kind of push a little more towards it.
I'm going run line. I'm going run line plus 135. But I love that AJ's number is at plus 333. That was the last time he won. AJ's all about the numbers, not just the plus. He loves the numbers. Ride it till you die.
Love the plus side. The disrespect for the Red Sox in these bets is deserved. It's what it is.
Hey, Kratz, I check my junk, dude, when I make my bets, okay?
Yeah. Well, it's maybe tonight's the night they will win, but you know what? I do doubt it. I do like those bets. So I think if you're betting on the Red Sox, individual players, I think is the way to go.
Lucy, do you still go to every game?
No.
Not so far, but hopefully this season I will. It depends on who has what tickets that are available. For whoever wants to give me tickets, I will always my arms are open.
There you go. And also, she just said it's not going when it's crappy weather.
This is a good point.
If the front office is going half throttle, then you're going half throttle if it's crappy weather. If they went all in, if they were the Dodgers this offseason, you'd be at every game.
Exactly. And when the weather gets better, that's where I shine. That is my in my prime. I go full throttle to Fenway and enjoy the hell out of it. That's what I want to do in a sunny day or a warm evening, not a rainy evening when it's like 50 degrees. So I will be waiting until the weather gets better. Would be nice. But you know what? An April game, I will go as well if there are tickets available.
There
Yeah,
you
I
go.
hope to. I hope to.
There are definitely tickets available.
There's
Free
plenty of good
tickets
seats
I don't know.
available.
Yeah.
I was sellout. First game was a sellout. 26,000 people yesterday. That's it's a good amount of people at the game. It's very, very, very exciting. Just all around,
Fair.
great stuff.
Well, Lucy, it was great to see you. Good luck to
Yes.
all on our bets tonight. We need it. We have been on a cold streak, and
I-
we'll
I
catch
did-
you again.
I was shocked though, because normally every time she comes on, she takes Ohtani, but Ohtani's
Mhm.
off today.
You can't.
And then Venus isn't in retrograde or whatever it is.
Right.
either,
And
so
the earthquake was and the eclipse both in Mercury retrograde. And so everything's backwards. And, without Ohtani, I mean, all is lost. So I think we found some really good things to bet on that are not Ohtani, even though we do miss him. And I had missed you guys. So I'm really happy to be back here.
We missed you too. Yeah. We'll get you again as we usually do throughout the season. So
Perfect.
hopefully some better weather up there soon too. And we'll catch you for some sunshine.
That sounds perfect, guys. I will talk to you guys
Thank you,
soon.
Lucy.
Thank
Talk to
you,
soon.
guys. Talk to you soon.
Bonus code for you on the Bet MGM Sportsbook app is FOUL when you sign up and deposit at least $10 into a new account and place your first wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. If the bet loses, if that happens, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Ooh, let's sizzle. We're on a little bit of a time constraint, but I want to sizzle. I'm going to jump, okay? I want to get to the Cal Raleigh story. He has 9 home runs in 15 career games against the Toronto Blue Jays. And there is shade. John Schneider spoke about Cal Raleigh last year, and I want to make sure that this was not overlooked because you have manager versus opposing player, and it is on. Let me know behind the scenes when we have John Schneider ready to go. I'll play that clip first from last year, and then we will play out what Cal Raleigh and John Schneider said after yesterday's game, which was a win, as much of a much-needed win, as you could say, for the beginning of the season. Mariners' offense had been cold. So here's the Blue Jays skipper last year about Big Dumper.
Hey, John, what about Cal Raleigh makes him so tough to pitch to?
He's not very tough to pitch to when you execute your pitches. He's hitting 200, but it's I know he's done damage against us, and I think if you execute, he's obviously got big, damage potential, and he's got a lot of strikeout potential too. And when you execute your pitches, you usually get the job done.
Whoa, Cal Raleigh heard that, was not happy.
Hot take. What? I just don't understand why. Just say, hey, we made mistakes. You don't have to you don't have, when they ask that, just be like, hey, we made some mistakes and we didn't pitch him the way we wanted to. We don't need to be like, hey, dude, Cal Raleigh, he's just not very good. He's hitting like that. To me, was a little bit of an attack, but hey, whatever.
Well, let me give you the other side.
Kratz taught him that when they were roommates in rookie ball.
Raleigh said after, or either before or after this game, I know a lot of guys have beef with him in the league, so his comments aren't surprising. I don't have much to say. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. If you don't want it to come back on you. Hey,
yo.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
That's right.
And then Schneider kind of was like, I'll see if I can dig up the quote, but essentially from what I remember when I was looking at the quotes at 3:30 in the morning, they were like, Schneider was like, yeah, he's kicking our ass. Like, good for him. I think he said he must be from here or something like that. Like, he is torching Blue Jays pitching. And come on, Kratz, this game means more to him. I know people are like, well, you go all out for every game. Yeah, but there's a certain adrenaline, that you can't recreate. And he's got an opposing manager who he clearly doesn't like, who talked a little smack about him, whether he meant it or not. Cal's taking it personal.
But was he wrong? Maybe it was more of a call out to his pitcher. Hey, make a pitch to a guy. We're not pitching around Cal Raleigh because you can make a pitch. If you can't make a pitch, this dude's going to hit a dinger off you. He's got 61 career home runs. He's barely been in the league for 2 years. I think if Schneider said anything wrong, I guess he doesn't need to say the whole 200. But the question was, how do you attack Cal Raleigh? He said, you have to execute in your zones. And to me, he was more calling out his pitcher you got to execute. A home run hitter, that's why so many guys are racking up strikeouts, because some dudes that hit for only power, if a pitcher can execute, it doesn't go too well for the hitter. So I felt like he was more, maybe I'm just coming to the defense of my buddy, but I think it was more at his pitcher than really shade at Cal Raleigh, even though I guess it was a little bit of heat on Cal.
I love the smoke. More of this, please. You know what they call this in the NBA? Tuesday. We need more of this. Seriously, it's fun. It breaks up the regular season. Like, that's a cool storyline. Cal Raleigh's beating the shit out of Toronto pitching. And Mariners offense has been struggling. Like, they need a Eugenio Suarez or a Teoscar Hernandez or a Jared Kelenic. Just a little boost, a little power boost in that lineup.
AJ, did you kill any team like that? Did you kill anybody like that?
I mean, we all had ups and downs.
I had Toledo Mudhens. Crushed Toledo Mudhens.
Did they talk shit about you, Kratz? Did the Toledo Mudhens deliver a little Kratz slander? Yeah, see? None of that. Let's slap hands.
It made me the ice cream batter. They're trying to ice me. Can't happen. I'm swinging at the first pitch.
We're going to do a little 2-minute drill here. A few things to get to. So, Kratz hats.
Charleston Alley Cats. No longer a team. They were the Charleston Power for a few years after I left. Right field had a hill in it. So you hit a ball to right. The right fielder had to run up the hill to go get the ball. Pretty classic minor league stuff.
Yeah, well, hey kids, that used to happen in Houston. It's called Tal's Hill. Look it up. It was crazy.
Lance Berkman running up the hill will never get old.
Jeez. Jordan Montgomery left Scott Boras. He's hired Wasserman, and
he gone.
They also rep Class Now and Yamamoto. So people are like, "Oh, Monty to the Dodgers." I'm like, "All right, let's see." He's actually pitching against the Dodgers quite a bit this year, or should be. So he gone.
I mean, he wasn't happy with his representation. He made a move. I mean, it just so happens it was Boras that had the 4 guys that were late signing. Mm-hmm. He was one of them. He thinks there's a better opportunity, and maybe it didn't work. Him and Boras's personalities didn't match up. I don't know. I mean, this happens a lot. You usually see people leaving to go to Boras their free agent year, but it didn't work out for Jordan. So good luck to him in Arizona this year, and if he's a free agent again next year, good luck with Wasserman.
Yep, exactly. And he'll want a different approach. He'll be like, "Go, we're signing early. We're taking an early offer." Because he has PTSD, which he should. It didn't work out the way that he thought it would based off the body of work that he had, and I would agree. I mean, the guaranteed money that he took is less than Robert Stevenson, reliever for the Angels, over the course of his 3-year contract. You look at guaranteed money. That's how it works. A lot of people on socials were like, I don't care about anything besides Zach Hampel not getting a Jackson Holliday home run ball. So there was one dude, I just wanted to point one out because I saw it all over Twitter. That's the dude that some people say pushes people to catch home runs and shit like that, and has the YouTube channel. So that was one person saying, me running at Zach Hampel so he can't catch Jackson Holliday's first home run.
Rowdy definitely would not do that.
He just did in the 3rd, according to Major League Baseball. People freaking out about a slide.
There's a whole backstory to that Albert Bell thing, too, with Fernando Vina. He had just gotten tagged out, and they were like, you do not let him tag you. And he's like, oh yeah? I ain't no sucker. Whammo, motherfucker.
Check my junk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learned one thing today. Check your junk. Gotta go. Dodgers territory next. Don't touch anything. It'll just go right to it. Subscribe.
Please.